So hello. I want to tell you that the ability for you to navigate these crazy energies, Barbara, these crazy energies, is very, very much like learning to steer a boat. And once you've learned how to steer a boat in rough seas, despite wind, despite waves, despite whatever's going on, what you begin to realize is, even if the sea is stormy, I'm all right. And you see, that's the difference. The sea right now is quite stormy. The world is no longer moving at the same pace toward the same destination. Some people want it to be the same destination, but it's not. Your world in the last, especially the last 100 years, began to put above all else money. 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 People didn't matter. The environment didn't matter. Relationships didn't matter. Families didn't matter. Show me the money. Show me the money. And if I have the money, whether I'm a rock star or a sports star, I'm sitting pretty. However, have you heard some rock stars who didn't wind up very happy? Have you noticed some sports figures who wound up losing all of their money and all of their prestige and all of their goodies, and there typically then also goes the wife and all of that? And you have to perhaps begin to think about, why is that? If money is what provides security, what happened to them? And so the world is being reminded that money is not the security. And that the way to feel happy again is to remember what made you happy the first time. And to say more of that, please. When David wakes up to go swimming at dark 30.
You ready for that one?
And many other people would say, oh, please, what are you doing? I'm always reminded of that wonderful scene, I hope you look at it again, in the Chariots of Fire, when he wants to run, and he's a minister, and his sister or something in the movie is saying, oh, it's not seemly to put on shorts and run, you know, as a minister. You shouldn't do that. And he says, you know, when I run, I feel God's pleasure. Now, it is not that God wants all of you to immediately go become runners. But when you find what has made you happy, what has made you feel good in yourself and your body, when you found that steering mechanism, that will give you the security, that will help you to have the family connections, and it will give you work. It may not be the millionaire, and it may be. But the difference is the satisfaction becomes aligned with your own joy and your own peace and your own pleasure. To feel God's pleasure is to feel your own Godness in line with, in harmony with the goodness of all that is, the God of all that is. And then it's all good. And so if you're steering your boat and your biological father is like a disruption and a phantom who gives you nothing, you stop steering in that direction and you say, all right, your loss, your loss. You will never know what a magnificent man I am. Or maybe you will much later in life. But I will not give away one more minute of my well-being because of your lack. And then you stop trying to get something when there's nothing to be given from him. And you take that longing that began as emptiness and you say, all right, what kind of man and what kind of father will I be? I will be an honest, truthful, loving man. And when the time comes, I will be a dad like I've always wanted to have. And you begin to take that decision and let that be your course for your boat. So whatever brings you into that feeling of, yeah, that's the kind of man I am. Those are the activities, those are the friends, those are the opportunities or activities that's the kind of man I'm choosing to be. And you know that you've got a mother who would lie down and let anybody run a truck over her before she would let anyone hurt you. And so good on you.
And a grandmother and an aunt.
Mm. Well, exactly. But we're starting here. Exactly. And so although it is your father's loss, your biological father, you've created a network and a family that will be part of the model of your future and the family you will have. For that is coming for you when you are ready.
When you were ready.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, absolutely. You have many, many wonderful journeys and fun and all sorts of things before that happens. But I wanted you to hear it from me. That is absolutely under your direction, the course you can steer. And so today's talk and tonight's talk is really about understanding not only what you don't have, but what you do have. And looking at that perhaps a little bit differently. So I hope I've answered your question. And we love you so much for all the good that you've done and all the good that you are. And we've seen the other, don't we? But all mothers forget about those things, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, Barbara, we're going to pick on you for a moment.
Okay.
You have a history and a pattern of keeping your mouth shut.
Sure.
And as Dr. Phil says, how's that working for you?
Not very well.
So what we want to say, though, is that because it's a long pattern, just as you said, all of a sudden someone doesn't pack their clothes and you're ready to scream and yell and jump up and down. So what that tells you is that there is a a build up of tension that wants to be expressed. And you pour it all into sewing. And your sewing is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But I'm going to invite you to choose one more new thing for yourself and for your family. Would that be all right?
Oh, wonderful.
I'd like you to get a small book, a little journal, and each day when you have a moment, I want you to begin to write a sentence that starts, I wish. And it could be, I wish that so-and-so would have packed her clothes and done it when I thought she should because it really wasn't right and I was waiting, period, boom. You don't say it to her. So there's no big, blow up, because relationships and friendships are important.
Very.
But you have said it. And you've heard yourself honor yourself in that process. And out of that beginning, if each day it's one sentence or 10 or 2 or whatever, that storehouse becomes emptied. So then it's something small. Lori, why didn't you, I don't know, put 2 ice cubes in instead of 1, or I mean, it's so small that there's no upset. But you teach yourself that it's okay now to say, gosh, I wish you'd put in less ice cubes or more ice cubes, or, right?
It's okay to feel what I feel.
It's not only okay, it's essential. The distortion is that when you haven't told it for a long time, because of how you were taught and before you, then it's like Lori only put in 1 ice cube and you completely start screaming at her. But if you begin by just keeping it in your journal, and you don't have to tell the people, because this is a storehouse, right? So you're just emptying it. You're saying, wow, and memories will come to you. I wish so-and-so hadn't forgotten my birthday. I wish, so it's honoring yourself without hurting anyone. And soon the storehouse is empty. And the tension is only those small things in anyone's given day that are easy to say, wow, I'd rather have this or that, and it's done. Because your heart and your body are trying to say to you, this is too much. It's too much. And that's the way to empty it slowly, easily, and without hurting anyone. So would you do that for me?
I will.
Good.
It's going to be a challenge because Tammy's been trying to get me to write things down for years.
I know, and that's why I'll bet one of your friends here will give you a little journal.
Oh, I have all kinds of them.
But you see what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
it's in that moment. It can be when you're having your coffee in the morning to review the day before. And it is a new habit. But part of what we're talking about tonight is how do you set a new course? If you keep doing the same thing you've always done, you all know you can't really expect a different result. Right? And so these small things that I'm offering to you will truly make a huge difference. Because once you're back up to just today, it's easy to say it.
You have I don't know if this is the right time to do this or not, but just with the quilt today, I did this where you'll see it tonight, Marilyn. I did, and it all came, and then I feel guilty. I feel guilty for being so excited and egotistical, whatever you want, because it did come out beautiful.
Okay. Now this is part B of your assignment.
Don't feel guilty. That's not very easy.
What I want to say to you, darling, is I want to put it, I'm saying it to you, but it's really, everything we're saying is for everyone. You all
Yeah.
know that, right? Samarah didn't want to sit in this chair. She thought, well, that looks like, aren't I hot stuff or something? And I really told her to sit in the chair. Because truly you're all hot stuff. And once you can get over this idea that it's egotistical to take pride in something you have lavished your love and attention on, and to be able to say, it's beautiful and I made it. Why would you feel guilty about that? So I'm inviting you to be a little glamorous and glorious, and to let that be part of your legacy for all the rest of your family. To let them, aren't you proud of all of your family members?
Yes.
And don't you take pride in what they do?
Mm-hmm.
So why shouldn't you have a bit of that as well? Right?
That's true, I should, but I just hadn't thought about it, but I was sitting there sewing, and when these, it sounds like nothing, but points come together, and I'm going, wow. I get so excited, and I'm going, no.
But see, that's the voice. We're changing the correction on that. That's the same voice that stuffs your anger.
Mm-hmm.
To say, wow.
I'm stuffed, I'm so stuffed right now, yeah.
So to just say, good job. We're just talking about honesty here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about honesty. And when you look at something beautiful like that and say, yeah, the points came together, the colors, it's beautiful. It's like Dave's swimming, or the man in Chariots of Fire. When I do this, I feel God's pleasure,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing to be embarrassed about or guilty about. Because the other thing to recognize is all of you have special capacities. And people think, well, let's see, do I play the violin? Do I, whatever. It's about what is it that when you're doing it, everything else goes away. Time goes away. And the joy of that particular moment is so fulfilling. That is grace. But that is also you and God together. And that is when you are living your true gift and your true purpose. And so it's not always your physical job. Sometimes it can be. But in the moments, Tammy, when you're making your mandalas, what is happening? It's very much like what's happening with your mother when she's quilting. Something is coming through you that says this stone wants to be with that stone, wants to be here versus there. And so if it's not directly in your job, don't worry about it. It can be. There are moments in your job, I know, when you feel that profound sense of I'm giving them exactly that taste of love that they need right now. So I am channeling God.